Stop running down the meh and mundane hallways of life and tap into the magical. My name is Michelle Shutter. I am a life and leadership coach for women and host of the Life Coaching Classroom podcast. I'd like to welcome you to Life Coaching Classroom, where we walk with you in the hallways of life so you can align to the beautiful expansiveness of your true self through reconnection, reinvention, and rejuvenation. I'm so glad you're here. Welcome to class. Hey, welcome back to episode 50 on the Life Coaching Classroom podcast. My name is Michelle Shutter, your host, and today we are going to dive into letting go of the old self. Now, that can get really juicy on many different levels, but I'm going to give you just 3 different ways in this podcast episode that you can begin to practice and implement to start letting go of that old self. So before I dive into that, I want to make sure that you have registered for the upcoming unit study for November. It is called Prove Yourself Wrong, and it is happening in Study Hall, in our Zoom online study hall. And I just want to extend that invitation to you to experience life coaching at absolutely no charge. You can go ahead and register to save your seat and get all the details at lifecoachingclassroom.com/unit. Please know that we are starting November 21st, so depending when you are listening to this. However, the recordings will be available because in the United States, it's Thanksgiving week, it's holiday, and people have things to do, right? It's busy, it's family time, yet you don't want to miss out on improving yourself because that is absolutely something to give thanks for. So again, register for our upcoming unit study, Prove Yourself Wrong, and we are meeting on a Zoom study hall, lifecoachingclassroom.com/unit. So let's get into the topic today of letting go of the old self. Now, I want you to think about a time where you've wanted to do something different. It could be something big, it could be something small. It doesn't matter. It all applies to the old self. So perhaps it was something big, like wanting to do pick a different job. Maybe you wanted to shift professions. Maybe you wanted to start a business. Maybe you wanted to write a book. Maybe you wanted to just do a new routine. Perhaps it was cook healthier meals, or perhaps you wanted to clean out a closet, get rid of some of the chaos, purge, right? Whatever it is, you wanted to do something different. Well, in that moment of contemplation, of wondering, should I do it? Shouldn't I do it? Again, depending on how big or small it is, there is a significant amount of emotion that pours into that moment that we sometimes don't even realize. And many times what happens is in the background, the whole fear generator starts to brew. And when that is generating, everything feels scary, and it also feels like it is exaggerated beyond belief. But yet our bodies and our thinking mind don't believe that it's exaggerating. It believes that it's happening right in the moment. And when all of this is happening, we have this like vicious voice that begins to kick in. And this vicious voice is something that sits on our shoulder and likes to chirp in our ear. And depending on how aware we are of the vicious voice, that volume can be turned up really high or it can be turned down low. We get to decide what the volume is, but we tune into its channel, and that channel really impacts the thoughts and the feelings and the actions that we create. And we, at many times, align with more of the scariness, the fear of doing something different. Now, why is that? Well, we do that because we're afraid to let go of the old self. Anytime that we want to do something different, it requires us to shed a layer. And in many times it's layers. We have to shed the old to bring in the new. So if we want to go for that new job, we can't be the same person dragging everything that we once were we're into this new position. We have to reinvent ourselves. We have to create that new person. Like, who do we want to be? How do we want to show up in that new position, in that new career, in the chaos of purging, right? Like, it all requires us to do and be someone different. What happens is, though, the old self just will resist. That old self will fuel the vicious voice. That old self just wants to hang on tightly because it's afraid, because it's scared, because it doesn't know any different than what you are experiencing right now. It's that comfort zone. It's that feeling of being secure in the moment. And for many women, that feeling of being insecure or that feeling of being unsafe resonates deeply with them. Women have a strong desire to have a safe place, to have a safe space. But it is our job to recognize when we are in these situations that these emotions, these thoughts are going to creep up. It's human behavior. Like, we are programmed essentially on that negative side. But it is our job to undo that so that we can step into the fullest expression of ourselves, so that we can go after the things that we want in life, no matter how big or how small, and we can do it with minimal resistance. So let me share with you just 3 different ways that you can begin to implement so that you can start to let go of the old self. Okay. The first one is we have to move out of our heads and into our hearts. When we are always looking at every situation from this logical mind, this intellect, this mental space, we neglect one of the smartest aspects of us, and that is the heart. The heart is so intelligent, and we have to be in a space where we are okay doing something different. We are okay leading with the heart because the heart really never lies. We just don't trust it. And it's our logical mind serves its purpose and it keeps us safe in many aspects of our life, but we cannot let it be dominant. Okay, so it's really important that we get out of our head space and sink down into that heart space. The second thing is we have to create a safe environment, a safe experience. Fear has been embedded in us for the last few years. If you think about everything that's going on, right? And it is that purge of fear that we have to begin to release. We have to begin to create that safety for us in a way of knowing, of absolutely knowing we are safe. To take a step towards a goal, to take a step towards something new, doesn't mean we are going to be hurt in some way. Our subconscious wants to automatically engage in that fight, flight, or freeze because it's scared. It doesn't know. We have to create some awareness around that to realize, you know what, I can take this step and be safe. And I have to calm my body down because you know exactly what that's like when you engage in a scary situation or a fear-based situation or just doing something new, right? Like sometimes our heart races, sometimes our hands sweat, like that nervous system is like overly activated. And so we have to do our part in calming that down, in creating that safe environment. The third thing is we have to take charge of our thoughts. And I'm so excited for the students that are attending the Prove Yourself Wrong because I have some really great tools to share with them to support them in this. Really becoming aware of our thoughts is one of the first things that we have to do. We have so many thoughts that cross our mind on a daily basis. And when we're just letting them run, it really is challenging to go into a new space and automatically have a new thought. because our thoughts create our feelings create our actions. And when we pause for a second and really look at, okay, what are the thoughts that are serving us? What are the thoughts that are empowering us? What are the thoughts that are disempowering us? And how do we discern between them? And what feelings are being created from each of those thoughts? And what actions are we taking based on those feelings? And when we align those thoughts and those feelings and those actions, we get the results we desire. So really taking charge of those thoughts is so important. And you may not know where to begin, and that's okay. Make sure you register for that unit study because you're going to get some tools to support you with that. So again, those 3 different ways for you to begin to let go of the old self and begin to shed. Like think of that snake, right? That snake that has to shed its skin. Essentially, when we are looking to do something new, to do something different, it doesn't matter how big or how small it is, we must step to that space of letting go of our old self, of shedding that old self. Does that mean that we forget all the lessons learned from that old self? Absolutely not. But that old self will not align with what we want, with our greatest desires. And so really begin to step into that space of letting go of the old self. And again, those 3 ways were get out of your head and into your heart, create a safe environment, a safe experience for yourself, and take charge of your thoughts. Get that awareness around your thoughts. Now, can change be scary? Can be doing something different be scary? Absolutely. But I want you to consider proving yourself wrong, that you can do something different despite it being scary, despite having some fear around it. Like what would be different for you if you stepped into that empowering place of you? Like it's limitless. It is limitless. And so again, if you're looking for some support around this, I want you to meet us in the study hall. And it is our November study called Prove Yourself Wrong, where you are going to experience life coaching. The ways of letting go, we will talk about that in our unit study, but we're going to take it to a whole new level. So again, that invitation is there for you. All you need to do to get the details and save your seat is head on over to lifecoachingclassroom.com/unit. I can't wait to see you in class. Have an amazing day. Have you joined our monthly unit study? If not, you better head on over and reserve your seat at lifecoachingclassroom.com/unit. The unit study gives you an opportunity to experience life coaching at no charge. Again, register and get all the details at lifecoachingclassroom.com/unit. I do have a favor. Could you take a moment to share this podcast and Life Coaching Classroom with your besties? Perhaps they too are tired of running down the meh and mundane hallways of life. Let's give them a little spark in their day. Finally, I'd be so grateful if you take a minute to review the podcast. The reviews definitely help to spread the podcast to more women. Thank you. I so appreciate you, and I will see you in class.